Welcome to Retro Crack, racism before it was cool, the epitome of fedora culture, and the end result to all laissez-faire economic policies. RuneScape. So I was unceremoniously spat out of my big-titty goth mama's womb and onto the face of a place so aptly and lazily named, they clearly let either an intern or a tenured professor do it. Tutorial Island. At which point I had to choose between all the fashion trends inspired by the intersection of the Daft Punk era and pastoral wonder. I tried several hair colors, but now will pretend I didn't, as I worry that the very act alone made me gay, which I've been told is of major concern to this community. I then meekly feigned considering two almost not entirely white skin tones to prove I stand with the greater cultural conscious. Even in this current climate, I felt comfortable assuming that I was supposed to go over to Yellow McPointy of Arrowsville over there, all the way in way too obvious Questland, so I naturally took a chance to rifle through his lingerie.
To no effect.
Then, as I was talking to him, someone who looked like he would be a serial killer in another life appeared from literal magic. Breaking the laws of conservation of energy or some such shit, standing there as an affront to Walter White cosplayers everywhere. And I want to be clear, not accusing this dude of actually being a serial killer. Oh no, I doubt he'd have the balls. Rather, in another life where events transpired in such a way as to facilitate his need to be a serial killer, there he would do it quite successfully, by all accounts. Lost your arrow. I skipped past the thickets of time and mossy pebbles of untold aeons with much unbridled glee down this poorly maintained dirt path, to find a survivalist who clearly did not understand the distinction between fresh and salt water, as she expected me to catch shrimp in the former. Fucking hate this game. I chopped down a tree, making sure to choose the one with the cutest squirrel living inside. It had a thimble full of coffee, freshly poured, several potholders for quilts, and even a working clock that made clever use of an old wristwatch. And it all crashed and fell, and then burned. Excuse me while I gander upon all this wonder. The fuck is in this crate?
Bread.
And perhaps a lawsuit dependent upon how you interpret this angle. God damn it, how did people do this before the invention of horses? I visited the richest man hereabouts, and noticed he got that way by being a quest guide. That's like one of those fake jobs we all pretend are real because they pay higher than average by a sliver. Like those people who go on those dating/marriage shows always have. Tell me, if I call myself a brand correspondent, do I also get an extra 10% per year? He had a statue of some Star Wars guy, I guess. I don't know, that's what I always assume single dudes in their midlife own. Also, apparently he was a savage butcher of rare and exotic and beauteous creatures, but I swiftly forgot about that. Deeper still down the rabbit hole, he had a fully working mine below his house, which I'm not sure if it breaks any local ordinances, but would hazard a guess it does. And even if it's totally legal, it doesn't exactly scream above the board, at least from a moral perspective. So imagine, if you will, a child taking his dad to career day, and that dad standing before that class, the teacher, and God himself, and proclaiming that he mined copper in some dude's basement. That'd be weird. We'd all think, that doesn't sound right. And he's like, dude has the permits. But we're all like, well, that's true, but still, I don't know. I don't know. After getting bored talking to myself about the ethics of whatever the fuck I was just talking about, I was woken to the harsh reality of the anti-woke regime when I learned I was not, in fact, my mama's special little man. And to this dude, I was just another in the rank and file of his endless forces that he deployed to the neighboring lands. Unwelcome invaders with one purpose and one purpose only: to slay rats.
A harrowing reminder of the cost of war.
I broke free from the horrors of the diamond trade, leaving behind those too young to run, and searched for solace in religion. The bank. Then discovered something about my arms and why they should be for the poor, but got distracted by how much detail they put into this stained glass. Like, look at this. Why this asset in particular? Is this a reference? Feels like a reference. I then found a literal friggin' wizard, and continued the dauntless purge of all lesser life forms, extending now up from vermin to our avian brethren, after which he basically made me smear the crispy fried greasy residue all over my face, told me I disgusted him, and gave me a $5, a slap on the ass, and sent me packing. So yeah, that's how I ended up homeless in a strange land with only the basics of bread making and a deep internalized shame I can't quite recall the source of without hyperventilating. Also, I'm pretty sure that method of teleportation disassembled and reassembled me on a molecular level, and so now I'm not sure if I am who I was, or a new entity with the same memories and thoughts.
Subscribe for more of this.